Welcome back to the Overwatch World Cup. We are down to our top 4 teams in the semifinals, and one of them is Russia, the leader of which is Rubicon. We've got Golden Boy down on the floor with him. Let's check in.
Thank you so much, Rachel. Okay, so I'm joined by my main man, Rubicon, down here. And how are you feeling, man? This has been an incredible experience for you. I can only imagine, again, first BlizzCon, it's been a running trend, right? First time for a lot of you guys playing in this crowd. How's the experience been thus far?
It's pretty good. I hope we're getting enough support from other players, viewers.
Okay.
But yeah.
You don't feel like you're getting... Can we give Rubicon some support, please? Thank you. There you go. I have the microphone, thus I have the power. Anyway, Rubicon. So you're going up against Finland, a very, very good team, a very strong team in this tournament. How did you feel coming out of your quarterfinals matchup as you prepare here for Finland? What are some of the things that you're looking to take on as you, embark on this adventure against this very, very challenging team?
Well, we just know that they play around Humzi with his hooks. They're insane as well. So we just have to make 0 mistakes. That's
going to be hard. 0 mistakes is pretty hard. I make mistakes all the time. I made a mistake just now. Look at that. You see? So that's going to be, I don't know how you're going to do it. No, I'm just messing around with you. Of course, I have a lot of confidence in you guys because, you still are a very strong team. You have a lot of, good players on your squad. Who on your team is actually your go-to? Who do you think is like, is it all of you, or is it just, or are there some star players there that you're really looking to go huge in this game?
Well, you obviously see Shadowburn. Yeah. He's pretty famous for his playstyle, but still we have really good players like Anek, Unfixed. They don't have enough,
credit?
Respect, credit, yeah.
There you go. Yeah. No, of course. I mean, I think that, this is a squad that, has just a lot of tools. I mean, the conversation's always been about Shadowburn, but everyone at any point in time can go off, which I think is very important, especially as you get ready for this game. So now, I was able to get to Vic to talk a little trash earlier. Am I going to get you to be able to do the same? Any words for your opponents on the other side?
Nah, I'm liking my Finland squad.
Come on, man. Just give me something. Rachel's gonna just make me feel really bad for not nothing, anything?
Nah, not really.
This freaking guy. Anyway, all right, well, here you go. Best of luck in your matchup. Guys, give it up for Rubicon, one and only. Rachel, back to you.
Wow, Golden Boy just can't get those sound bites. I don't even know why he's here.
I wish he was just a better interviewer.
Yeah, if he could just be a little more...
We'll have a talk with him. We'll help him out afterwards. Don't worry, man. We got your back.
Golden Boy, thank you so much for your hard work. And I do want to give a shout out to our T-Mobile MVP contest. Use the hashtag T-Mobile MVP and the battle tag of your favorite player each match. We will be announcing your votes at the end of each match. And no, you cannot vote for Golden Boy.
Can I vote for Golden Boy?
I won't. I was going to, but now I have to change my vote to Doa.
No, you can only vote for players on one of the 4 remaining teams. Let's take a look and see what those are. We've still got Russia and Finland in the mix-up, but we have a sweet graphic for this too. We have Russia and Finland, and they'll be going up against South Korea, and of course, our boys from Sweden.
Yeah, whoever wins that matchup. It's going to be very interesting. That semifinal on the other side of the bracket going to be very good. But first, we're starting with the Russia and Finland matchup. I have to say, I think Finland has a pretty big edge going into this because it's just the style that they've been playing, right? When we look at 3-tank McCree, that is basically the dream for shutting down a Genji. And then we have Shadowburn, who's an excellent Genji player, but he has a tough row to hoe against the style of Finland.
Hold your horses, though. Come on. We saw Shadowburn on May as well on Icon.
And Reaper?
And Reaper. So Shadowburn's hero pool is basically anti-Finland. So it could go either way.
And to be fair, Russia does do a really good job of supporting Shadowburn, which is basically what everybody else does. It's like Shadowburn and 5 supports. But if we look at kind of a matchup of individual skill versus individual skill, Finland just has a little bit more, right? They've got Taimu, but they've also got Himzi. They've got these stars that can kind of carry on their own, and Russia seems to kind of only have that in the form of one player.
Well, it depends, because if you look at Russia, they have Shadowburn, right?
Yeah.
But if they pull out a triple offense lineup, which they have done in the past, if they play Reaper, if they play McCree, if they play Genji, I think that they can have such force, if Finland just focuses Shadowburn, because Finland will just focus Shadowburn, because that's how it works when you play with Shadowburn.
Well, we saw France try that, though, and Unfixed came out.
Well, yeah, that's what I mean. Like Unfixed and these are good players, I think if you're Finland, you know, you're feeling relieved, you know, you got past Spain, but really you shouldn't be, because you're going up against freaking Russia. And they have Shadowburn and Unfixed. And then I think that Russia could take a map and even the series here.
I'm going to disagree with you there. I'm calling it 2-0 for Finland. I think they've got the tools to shut it down. And yes, we can talk about France and what, you know, the basically Russia's ability to take those victories despite some of these counters coming through. But at the same time, France is not a team that is entirely composed of professional players. They don't have the same star DPS players that we see coming in from Finland. I think that's where the big difference gets made.
Now, I think it is important to note, too, that Finland, yeah, they may have all this star power and all that, but they do have a tendency we've seen in the tournament to overextend, to make mistakes, to give back points, especially on those control maps. And that's something that I think is a little bit risky to do against a team like Russia, because they could easily take advantage of it. So Finland, they need to watch out a little bit at least.
Yeah, for sure. If Taimo doesn't show up, you know, how's this Finland team going to work out? It sounds pretty ridiculous, you know. Taimo is going to show up. But, you know, if Finland applies pressure in the right way, on the right guys in this Finland team, I definitely think that Russia, they have a chance. I really want to believe that Russia have a chance.
You sound like you're convincing yourself more than you're. You sound like you're convincing me.
I'm trying to hype up the viewers, okay? They can do it.
I've got my pen. It's not erasable. So what I want to ask you guys to do is give me your predictions for this map. So this matchup entirely, and I can feel superior when it's all over.
2-0 Finland.
2-0 Finland, says Monty. All right, noted.
I will say 2-0 Finland. However, I will say Russia will take at least 1 point on one of these maps.
It's very specific.
All right.
I'm trying to. You don't have to write all that down. You can just put 2-0 Finland. It's
I'll think about it.
It's fine. How about you?
Reinforce.
Change your mind?
I want to give a map to Russia, right? But if Finland goes and does 2-0, I know Monty's going to sit here and he's going to lie and wait after the game and give me crap for this. So, okay, I'm going to go 2-0 Finland. I'm playing it safe. I'm playing it safe.
I don't think I've ever seen Monty actually pressure someone into changing their vote on a desk before. Congratulations, sir. That's a new high mark
But
for
Russia
you.
can take it. They can, maybe.
Russia can take it, right? Asterisk, Russia can take it.
Exactly.
Well,
there you go.
All of our analysts have Finland 2-0ing this series against Russia. Russia, you've got a lot to prove in this matchup, so let's get it started and give it over to our casters.
Thank you very much, Rachel. Yes, welcome back. I'm Uber with D-Man here for, in my opinion, obviously, probably the most exciting of these two semi-finals. This is definitely going to be a little bit harder to call, even though the desk seemed to be quite convinced that it would be Finland with a 2-0. Although I think Johnny was maybe slightly coerced. I'm not sure. I called duress on that one.
Confident stuff, yeah. I actually managed to speak to Saini last night about this game, and they were pretty confident this was going to be the semi-final, of course. It is going to be starting out on Dorado, then Kings Row and Lijiang Tower if we require it. Obviously, the first time we're going to get to see Dorado here at BlizzCon, which I'm pretty excited about. But they have a plan. They had a plan for how to deal with Russia, and more importantly, how to deal with Shadowburn. And that plan is in the form of Himzy. They seem to think they can predict exactly when and how he is going to ult. They pretty much think they have it down. So they reckon they could deal with him no problem. So then, of course, you've got to look towards the other threats that maybe Russia will bring.
The thing is, Shadowburn has a stylistic tendency on Genji. Before he ults, he will dash up into the air, almost vertically, because using Dragon Blade gives him a reset on that dash. He goes up, he uses his ultimate, he has a brief second to see what's happening below him, and then he'll use that free dash to get within arm's reach or sword's reach of an opponent, take them out, get a reset, and go on from there. Finland think, or Himzy at least thinks they've got to sort it out. You know, and if Himzy doesn't make it work, well, guess what they've got? They've got Taimo on McCree. So you've got, honestly, one of the best McCrees in the world, one of the best Roadhogs in the world on this team. So yeah, this is a team where Shadowburn may not be allowed to thrive.
So, of course, it is going to be Russia on the attack and Finland on defense. Dorado, as we mentioned, it's the first time we get to see it here at BlizzCon. We saw it, obviously, throughout the group stages. Taimo going to be starting out on the Mei this time around. Linkser, of course, has been that Reinhardt all the way through. This is a team of 6 DPS players, so all having to adjust to their positions. Mafu has been fantastic on Zaya, but this is a very aggressive forward defensive position from Finland.
It is, and Finland are going to get a lot of good healing. I mean, this triple tank comp with the Mei is quite robust and safe to play, although this positioning, maybe not so much. You can see Taimo was bursted down quite heavily early on, and a decent wall. This is going to force Linkser back, or else he'll be taken down and picked off. But you can see this Russia getting aggressive. They want to try and break this defensive hold here, but Red is going to be the first to fall to Lynx.
That's the big tank down, no forward field. Of course, that means the hooks will land. Anak gets caught out. Quick biotic grenade will keep him alive. The May Wall launching them in the air from unfixed there. But this is a very risky play. Of course, the theory behind this crazy aggressive style is if they do die, if they get wiped out, they still have the chance to spawn, get back in there before the first point's captured.
Yeah, before even that choke point. It looks like that's going to be the way things are going here. Reds and Unfixed opening up well. Anak finds Himsy, and Shadowbird now dancing around that payload. It's not going to be long-lived for Taimu, who's eventually cut down. Maffrey, though, with a quick double, that's quite big. That's a big deal. That buys a lot of good time for Finland to get back. Staggers Russia out just a little bit more. So that little double, although it didn't win the fight, definitely going to be worth more than it seems.
The big thing for Russia, of course, is they're coming back. They have a nano-boosted Genji Dragon Blade ready and waiting to go. The second that Finland return. Of course, Zappis has himself his nano boost as well, so he might be able to throw that out onto Lynx. Lynx is going to have that Earth Shatter. Timer's going to have the Blizzard, so it's going to be a whole big ult fest going on in the moment as soon as they hit his statue.
This Blizzard might just be enough to break it, actually. Ball comes up, you can hear the Blizzard coming down. A Shadowbird, he does it again. He goes up high, and then he dashes down, but this time it works. He's like a dive bomber there, and it went well. He gets himself a lot of damage in 1 kill over that fight. Rubicon, 2 kills from the backline, just sending darts left, right, and center. And with Lynx now falling, Finland using a lot of ultimates there themselves, but it's not going to be enough. Russia will have this first checkpoint.
Yeah, it's one thing to say you know what he does, it's another to actually deal with it.
Absolutely.
And it seems so. Russia, they get themselves a very easy first checkpoint. So Finland, you know, they tried to go for that option. There you go, they're up in the air, straight down and straight through. And when, of course, they are pulled into that graviton surge, the Blizzard basically being bypassed by the entire Russian squad. So that didn't really counter. And it puts them through that really tricky situation. The first point is very hard to capture here on Dorado. And now, of course, they're pushing into the church with, what, 4 minutes on the clock. This is a good start for Russia.
Yeah, absolutely. And now Finland, the onus is on them. They're going to have to leap down from this high point just like this and start the fight. And they're going to have to keep doing this. Like, Graviton catches no one in particular there. So Maffrey pulling that one a bit early. And the wall goes up. You see Russia were already well and truly disengaging from that fight. Perhaps a little bit of a misread from Finland after getting that first pick on the high ground.
Yeah, good reactions from Godspeed there to pull Russia backwards. The second Shadowburn got caught out. They immediately disengaged. And now they're coming straight back in. Now they have the advantage, of course, because they've got that big blizzard that they can throw out if Finland decide to drop down on them, which is most likely what they're going to try and do.
So already Shadowburn wants to get up behind, and what he'll probably do is jump into the air, have Rubicon throw the nano boost at him from a long way away, and then obviously get the Dragon Blade on in. But for now, Shadowburn is maybe not convinced that it's ready time to go. We do hear a Blizzard getting used there as well. Shadowburn trying to reflect a bit of damage to Graviton. Was not reflected though, and most of Russia are going to be caught up in that one now. But Shadowburn going high, looking for Taimu, who still gets down and take
forces
it down.
him out, the Deadeye as well, forces him to react to that one. And this is actually a very even fight, but now it's turning in Russia's favor. Shadowburn still sitting on the Dragon Blade, remember, he hasn't needed to use it in this entire fight. And Finland are going to get wiped out. 3 minutes still on the clock to just get around this corner with the Dragon Blade in your pocket. This is massive for Russia.
Yeah, I find this very interesting from Finland as they haven't yet really hit a rhythm. And of course, the last fight, Taimu was so vulnerable there to Shadowburn getting up behind him. He went for the reflect and Taimu was forced to drop down. Look at that. Taimu already so low now. Dragon Blade going to come out from Shadowburn. He was going to be looking for Taimu. Who else would he go for in this case? Himsy a target, but no, it's going to be turned on towards Mafu. Use one more slash, put the blade away, and now a couple of shurikens will get the job done. Convincing fight for Russia, and Finland haven't stopped him at all here.
Lynx is going to come out and gets himself the Earth Shatter, but it's too little, too late. The rest of his team just get battered down, and they move into the final payload section. 4 minutes on the clock for Russia. This is not going the way Finland planned it.
And they're going to have a Blizzard available there as well. So Finland do make the incorrect move, I'm going to say, of engaging on Russia with not enough ultimates back behind them. It's going to be one Blizzard will be enough to rule them all, and in fact to freeze them all. That's going to be very, very scary. So nano boost available here for Rubicon. Finland working on some of that ultimate economy we were talking about. They do have a Graviton here for Mafu. That will be crucial. Whole Hog's not far away either. That combo was actually one of the nastiest in the game, DPS-wise.
He's got to pull the trigger at the right time. Of course, we saw him whiffing it at the church. He's got to just hold his nerve right now. While Russia, of course, sitting on a whole stack of ultis. Russia, once again, disengaged perfectly. They set themselves up. They're going to try and stack out in the stairwell. They're going to try and fight them on the high ground.
Mapper there as well. Obviously, lasering the wall reminds me of No Man's Sky. Doesn't do much in this game. They don't really get anything for it. The payload's going to move through. Look at that Shadowbird already going up on high. Great little bite of grenade, though, with Zappis throwing that one down, allowing Himsy to finish off the kill. Now it's going to be the engagement here. Linksa does have himself a nano boost. Red sets himself up to be charging against the wall, and Rubicon's got nowhere to run there. Fast Strike doesn't catch him, though. Doesn't do the extra damage, but still, enough has been done here to force Russia back. And this next fight will be very interesting, Lee. We have big ultimates on both sides of the map here. It's all going to come down to who can use them better. Who dares wins.
Taimu with the Deadeye, gonna get himself positioned. You can see him going very passively, sitting much deeper than he ordinarily would, of course. Wants to try and catch them a little off guard, but Shadowburn, he went in a little early there in that last fight. He was the man that went down first, and of course, again, Himsy catching him out. Now he's got the Dragon Blade. Rubicon's trying to sit and position himself, poise himself almost for this Dragon Blade nano boost, which you see Shadowburn just left-hand side, waiting to launch himself in there. Godspeed's got that sound barrier. Expect that to see almost the go signal effectively as they try and boost them up there. There goes Shadowburn, and in he goes!
Dragon Blade with sound barrier going to block a lot of that damage up. It's a shield as well on towards Zappers, but it won't last forever. No one's going to be cut down, and Shadowburn gets 2 kills. Blizzard in Graviton as well, just for good measure. Himsy wasn't going anywhere anyway, but still, Russia pushed through. Big old fight, and they come out well in top. That'll be enough to secure pretty much this map for them.
From Russia with love, Shadowburn slices his way through Finland. Just one little chance as Taimu drops on down, but he can't keep them at bay. The rest of Russia try and keep them pinned off the side. Shadowburn continues to strike as he gets himself shiny, but Taimu's just been left alone. He's picking them off left, right, and center, and they are forced away from the point just at the marker. 1 HP is what Taimu had remaining after that one as well. Those subsequent headshots cutting Russia off at the knees. It looked like they would have been home and hosed, home free. They had it in the palm of their hands. They won a fight where both teams used probably 5 ultimates each and didn't lose anyone. But they lost that advantage, they lost that impetus, and Finland have a chance here to re-establish. They're going to have to keep the Diva though. That might be an issue here for Mafu. Yeah, he's going to have to try and keep himself going. Mafu, of course, without that Graviton Surge is pretty big. That's going to be Taimu actually launched out of the picture there. That's actually caused a problem because now he didn't get the DPS down. Shadowburn's going wild. Meanwhile, in the backside, gets a quick deflection into Taimu's face. Mafu just left alone. He's going to get desuited, taken down. The Blizzard comes through. They will be picking up the round, and it's going to have around about 40 seconds left on the time back. Not a bad time indeed for Russia. 37 seconds, the final time.
They said, we know how to play against Shadowburn. We know what he does. But Shadowburn looked anything but leashed in that game. It was all about him when it came down to those Dragon Blade scenarios, and he used it well. Would have been a little bit quicker, though, for the Russians there if Taimu hadn't thrown well, I guess a stick between the bike spokes, Lee, but as it stands, 40 seconds remain. Dorado is not a short map. It is hard to finish this one, let alone actually have a decent time bank with it. And Russia will be happy with that. Now it is up to Finland to not only reciprocate, but exceed its previous high.
Dorado is a tough map to finish. There's no doubt about it. And that was, while it is only 37 seconds, it was finished. And that's a tough old chance. Shadowburn going off here in the replay, showing around the back there. Deflection on Taimu. It's always a bit of a kicker when the ult comes back in your face.
So against a team that's very tank heavy, like Finland, it's going to be hard for Shadowburn to find those crucial targets here. But he did his job. Even a quad tank team is going to have Anna and Lucio, and you can see that Shadowburn found them. Then he picks up Taimu, which is just a bonus there with the reflect. It can be a little bit tricky as a McCree player to judge correctly when the animation or when the blocking period of the Genji reflect finishes, but he did his job, and that's what you're going to see. Shadowburn doesn't really care about killing Zayas. He doesn't care about killing Roadhogs or Reinhardts. He wants to kill the 2 supports. At that point, his job's done.
I'm interested to see how it's going to work as well, the fact that he's using Genji on defense. You know, but never really sure on Genji on defense, but when you got Shadowburn in the team, obviously bearing in mind he played a lot of Reaper in the Spanish game. He didn't really, he shied away from effectively Genji a fair amount, and obviously played Tracer throughout the groups as well. But this time around, of course, Genji in defense, we'll see how it works out. Finland sticking with the tried and tested, going in with 3 tanks, Linksa, Mafu and Himsy, trying to bring it through. And of course, it's down to Taimu to deal with him.
So defensive Genji can be a little bit risky if you get caught out in a compromising position, but Shadowburn will be looking for openings the whole time. He'll cast a keen eye over the side of Finland and hope to try and find their support in a position where he can dash in, get a quick kill, and dash back out with a reset.
Shadowburn already taking a big chunk of damage there, gets himself back out and healed up by Rubicon. The hook's not going to go through from Himsy there, though shield will block that off, but again, it's going to start working them down, trying to get some damage on. Anak does take a chunk, another hook comes through, this time they pull themselves in reds. Hello, no, goodbye. And the tank is down. There's no shield to hide behind anymore.
That first pick's very important. That's exactly why you're going to bring Roadhog into a lineup like this. And notice that Himsy wasn't lazy there. He got the hook, but he made sure he landed the headshot. It's so tempting just to hit a gut shot when you pull a Reinhardt in, but he secured the kill by hitting him right in the noggin with as much shrapnel as possible.
Anak's shields quickly work down, Unfix taking damage. Reds will be back into the action right now, but the rest of the team are getting caught out. Shadowburn's going off while we look at that. The Blizzard comes in, and Shadowburn gets himself a quick double kill, and Russia will hold Finland back. So, first attack fails. Obviously, we see a much more of a default strategy from Russia in the defense, so this buys them a lot more time sitting in this archway.
It was a Blizzard used by Russia there to isolate Finland. I believe it was Himsy and Taimu actually that were caught away from the rest of the team. More importantly, caught away from their supports. And guess who Shadowburn went for? He got Zappis, then he got Zany, and that was fight done.
So, Anak, of course, Graviton Surge, perfect positioning. They're going to go for the right flank, so keep your eye on this right-hand side of the screen where Shadowburn is looking at the moment. And they're going to come around this position, and the second they push around this corner into this market square, expect to see the Graviton Surge go straight down and probably see Shadowburn with the Dragon Blade back up again in this second attack, going straight for him.
It's going to be like hitting a pinata with a butter knife for him at that point. But we'll be Finland pushing through now as well. You can see Shadowburn going to go up high and back down. This is what he does here. He gets Zany straight away though. That's quite nasty, and he can't respond to that. If you're Finland, Shadowburn takes him by surprise, and there's nothing they can do but just fall apart. Himsy though, at least get the hook. That's a little bit of a silver lining here, but it's unlikely that it's going to be enough for Finland to really capitalize on. But look at him. Himsy's still looking for another hook.
They've managed to keep Zappis alive. He was down to about 10 health in there. Now he gets himself healed back up, and that's a big important factor because he has that nano boost. Now Himsy pushing through. There's 5 ultis for Finland. You can see Timer's going to use that Deadeye. That's going to force him around the corner. You see the Graviton Surge come out, but there's not a great deal of follow-up. Now goes into Blizzard. They all get caught up. Nana comes in, and that's going to be Russia absolutely cleaving their way through Finland. They are cleaned off once again at the statue with only 1 minute 20 on the clock. Finland are going to have to get a move on.
Russia almost made a grave mistake. In fact, they did make that mistake. With Shadowburn going a little bit too far, Finland baited him around the corner into a hook from Himsy, but you see that Russia had to dig deep in their pockets and use some big ults to try and save that one. Graviton's down, Blizzard's down, they don't actually have a sound barrier here either, and they're going to have to make do with just the Earth Shadow now, as Finland will start to get a little bit more desperate here, but they've got a nano boosted Reinhardt to potentially throw into the mix, as well as a Winston.
And there's the nano boost, he gets thrown straight out there. It's onto Mafu with the Winston. He's going to get himself the kill. Is he not? No, Rubicon manages to get himself away from that one, who finally get taken down, but it took a lot of work there. Anak manages to get himself some serious damage down at the back there, but it will be Finland that will push on through. Finally, Anak gets dealt with, and that is going to be the first marker reached. But it's only 3 minutes on the clock for Finland. They have a lot of work to do here in the church section.
Now, I'd like to see Finland stay with Matthew here right now because he has the Primal Rage. He'll be able to deny a lot of that high ground, that ledge away from Russia. If he can get in their midst, use Primal Rage, and knock them off the edge. That could be automatically one fight for Finland if they respond and execute correctly off the disarray they're throwing the Russian side into.
Mafu, Primal Rage ready and waiting to go. Let's see whether they decide to leap up and go aggressive. Try and disrupt Russia at the moment as they set up, because Shadowburn's building himself up a nice ult percentage as he continues to land those shurikens. Taimu on the flank, he comes around, he's found Godspeed. Quick execution in the back there. Shadowburn first to back away, and that's going to buy Finland all the time they needed as the rest of Russia go aggressive.
Now Finland can pincer on. Taimu has such a power position now. Good flash, double flash in fact. Rubicon, it was a very, very quick use of the bionic grenade, but Taimu catches Reds as he tries to get around the corner. It wasn't his heel he caught, it was the back of Reinhardt's head. Manages to get the kill, and Matthew still has that power ultimate in play. Purely the jump pack impact was enough to knock Russia off the edge.
This is exactly what Finland needed after a bit of a slow start to the game. They needed to push through this church section very fast. 2 minutes on the clock, they're going to get engaged upon once again. You can see the Graviton Surge available for Anak as they try and push around, which is why we see the little disengage. Taimu getting himself beat up there, has to get himself the ulti off. Deadeye comes through, gets the flashbang on Shadowburn, picks him off, gets Godspeed, spins around and gets another, and that is all she wrote. Suddenly through the church section in no time at all. 3 minutes on the clock to finish the map.
Headshots are already a very powerful part of McCree's arsenal, but a nano boosted McCree hitting headshots consistently, that is frightening to say the very least. There's not always a a high percentage choice to make in terms of doing damage, but when you can rely on Taimu to hit headshots and body shots and get damage done, then it actually becomes a very worthwhile use of that nano boost. And now Finland are using that to press forward.
I can't tell whether they were using Taimu as bait, because he went around the corner with a Deadeye and then quickly cancelled it out. Shadowburn go beating their ulti, but he's not going to really find anything at the moment. And now he's in this awkward situation. Finally gets Taimu down, but his ulti is already run out, so it's not a great deal of net results for that ulti going down. Reds luckily comes in and picks off Mafu, and now we're seeing Unfixed right-clicking, trying to get some execution shots. Finland with 2 minutes on the board, chasing Russia's time. Remember, 37 seconds in the time bank, so Finland have to finish this map.
Well, we're going to see Shadowburn switch over towards the Reaper now as well. So Russia going to play a little bit safer now because they realize that there's still 1 minute and 30 in the bank for Finland. They need to go for something robust, that's safe, that's hard to get wrong, and this is a good comp for that. They've got the Mei, the Blizzard's going to be there. They've got Shadowburn who can use the Nano Boost when it becomes available as well. All very good things, all very safe things, but Finland will still look to exploit them here. Linksa can be Nano Boosted if required.
A good wall to separate Linksa there. There's going to be a Blizzard going straight down. They're going to chase Himsy into the corner. He gets himself frozen up, but the Earth Shatter comes on through. Unfix gets taken down, and Taimu goes off the chain as he finally manages to push on through. A Nano boosted Reds, but he can't manage to find any targets. Lynx is the only man that he gets in there, and he's forced to charge away for his life as the rest of Finland push the payload through.
It's just as well that Reds backed away because he wouldn't be able to come back and try and hold for one last-ditch attempt here. Russia are struggling here. 30 seconds available for Finland. They've got to go. Time is going to go for the Deadeye, prevent anyone coming from around the side. Ainek gets taken down there. It's a life cheaply lost, and that could be enough for Russia to suffer here. Earthshatter comes in. Himsy up against the wall. It's going to be Timing falling to Unfixed, and now Russia's starting to wake up in this fight.
Russia hold them off with 1 minute to go. Finally, they get Mafu down, and the payload is no longer contested. You see the golden marker. It is simply one team fight they need to pick up, but the advantage at the moment is in Russia's hands. They have the ulti stacked up. Anak's going to have his big Graviton Surge. Remember, Finland switched away from Graviton Surge. They don't have that big tool in their arsenal anymore, but they do have themselves the whole hog, and of course Mafu with the primal rage, but there's no great big damage dealer, no big suction, no big team fight winner at the moment in the hands for Finland.
He's going to Matthew stay with his Winston for as long as he has here. It is working out, to be fair. There's no Reaper or anything like that, so it's okay to not have a Graviton, but here's Himsy staying scarce for the moment here. There's going to be mutual sound barriers being used, and Nano Boost going on towards Matthew, if I'm not mistaken. Blizzard, Himsy trying to get himself out of it, but he can't get away. He's frozen solid. Shadowburn gets himself 2 kills, and even Unfixed charming in. Matthew heads up high, has a primal rage available, and he's going to need to use it here. Knocking back, you can see Godspeed almost over the edge, but a Graviton comes in, and Matthew can't do anything. 2 seconds left. Finland have been cut just short of the end here, and into overtime. But Lee, there's no one here to stop it. It is going to be Russia to take away the first map, and Finland, that's going to hurt.
Nothing they could do there. You saw the whole hog in use, caught, frozen in time by the Blizzard. Shadowburn going off, the switch over to Reaper working wonders. And well, Russia take map number 1. We wondered exactly how they were going to deal with him. And well, and shows really 49 eliminations, 49, count them, 49 in 2 rounds with just 10 deaths. That's on the Genji and of course Reaper.
That's at least 12 eliminations ahead of his next closest teammate. That's a good 5,000 damage ahead of his next closest teammate there as well. It's Shadowburn demonstrating that it's not just the Genji that he can play well here, and it is just as well because, well, as we've seen, it seems that the Finnish players at least seem to think they have a way around it. But honestly, I really do think that even when Shadowburn was playing Genji, he was able to get his job done. He was able to fulfill his objectives as a Genji player in dealing with those 2 supports on the side of Finland here. So I don't really know if Finland do have his measure or they're not executing on that properly. The hooks haven't been hitting in midair, that's for sure. So maybe they were just wishful thinkers when we spoke to them about that previously.
Yeah, that's 49 eliminations out of 71 total, by the way. That's a massive, that's like 2/3 involved in. 2/3 of the kills, of course. That doesn't mean he did them all solo, but here he is, of course, finishing off well. Not too hard to hit a frozen target, but nonetheless, the left clicks doing their job, clearing off, and of course, winning the game for Russia. Now we're going to move on to King's Row. It's going to be the second map. And of course, similar situation stands right now. Finland, a little shaky on the defense, no doubt about it. And especially in the opening point, we saw what they did. I'm still never sold on that tactic, that aggressive style on Dorado. I don't think I've seen it once actually successfully work out. I understand the theory behind it, but they can't do that this time around, of course. They have to defend and solidly hold. But it's going to be Russia on the defense to begin with. Ballsy stuff, they're going with the Genji. Shadowburn, of course, doing fantastic. Don't forget, of course, to get yourselves involved in the voting for the man of the match. The T-Mobile MVP, hashtag T-Mobile MVP. Get yourself in there, tweet us, and see who you think, of course. I'm pretty sure I know where you're going right now, but there's still plenty of match to play. Taimu, at the moment, sitting on the Widowmaker.
Yeah, it's possible that he maybe tries to have one shot. Widow, out of spawn, can punish someone that's overextended, like one headshot to kill the 200 HP hero. But after that, you usually switch away. However, I wouldn't put it past Finland to try something like this. They're kind of one of the teams. Complexity, actually, a North American team, does use a Widow on the attack sometimes. It does work out, but no. It'll be McCree for Taimu, and I much prefer to see him on that.
Yeah. Yeah, no doubt about it. Okay, let's see how it works out for them. Triple tank once again. Tell a lie. Yes, they are. They're going with the triple tank. They're going to push on through. I thought they were going to switch it off there, but it is going to be the triple tank for Finland. It's something they've stuck with throughout. And we'll see how it works out. Russia, of course, getting themselves set up. Unfixed this time around is going to be the man on the May. Sit around the side. Shadowburn with the shurikens, catching Taimu pretty heavily there, but he does back away around the side.
It's important. He's already halfway to his first Dragon Blade lead. That's exactly what Shadowburn wants to poke at medium to long range for. Obviously, he's not trying to kill people. It's very unlikely that's going to happen, but he needs the blade to really make impact in the fight. Taimu tries to test Rubicon, but it's going to be a sleep dart. Oh, it looked inevitable, but Taimu somehow knocked out the way. He gets a stay of execution. Very lucky to escape, but that's the way it's going to be. They still lose Linksa as a result. You can see Taimu's trying to finish off Reds, but no, not quite enough until he drops his shield, and that last shot comes thundering home.
Well, they might try and push on this one, but until Shadowburn comes on through with Anak, and that is going to be all she wrote for Finland on that attack. So Russia holds steady, and more importantly, they build up a decent ult percentage. Look at their stack. They have a stash of ults ready and waiting for this next fight.
And what they want to do is use it fairly sparingly, Lee. Only really dig deep and use all of them if they absolutely had to here. Ideally, only 2 ultimates is going to be enough to win the fight. In fact, they just need a Blizzard, maybe a Dragon Blade, but we'll see what gets used here as the Deadeye is activated. You can see Shadowburn preemptively prepared to reflect anything back at the McCree, but it's Godspeed getting picked off. He's on the left side. He was too far away from his team. He's going to go in, but Shadowburn now with the Dragon Blade here. He gets himself on towards Zappers. Any more? Yes, Maku's going to fall. Almost a third. One more right click should do the job. Can't quite get Saini. Finally finds him though, and the rest of Finland weren't able to, I guess, emulate Shadowburn's performance in Russia's backline, and it's going to be Russia to hold again.
Perhaps a little overkill maybe for Russia. They literally just blew everything. They threw everything into that fight. Obviously, they were very worried Godspeed went down, so immediately it's a big problem for Russia, losing out on that Lucio. But they just threw 4 ultis that way, which immediately we're seeing Finland follow up on. There's going to be Anak trying to get himself 1 kill. That's going to be Taimu goes down, so the DPS is already lackluster. And now Lynx, of course, going to get picked off around the side there. Reds does pick himself up, get picked off by Zappis, and now Finland pushing through.
Yeah, this should be enough for Finland to slow roll on towards the point here. Especially with Rubicon going down now, healing is lacking for Russia and the whole hog available. Yep, it's going to be Himsy to lend them 1 rip. I think it's only Unfixed that was intended for, and eventually he's going to be knocked backwards away past the statue. And Finland will finally have the capture here. About a minute and 30 or minute 28 on the clock there. Not bad, but could be a lot faster here. And against Russia, a map down, they really need to set a cracking pace on this half.
Yeah, just to put that in perspective, of course, the Sweden-China game, they finished the entire map in 4 minutes, 40 seconds. We're already 3 minutes into this game. So that's just how fast Sweden were in the previous quarterfinal. But here in this semi-final, Russia currently 1 map up. If you just joined us here at the Overwatch World Cup at BlizzCon, they took the first map, Dorado, in style and managed to finish off the map with 37 seconds on the board. Currently, though, Russia have themselves a plethora of ultis ready to throw at them in the archway.
While Finland taking so much damage right now, I think there was a fire strike that hurt them, so the follow-up's going to have to be good. Blizzard comes out, and Shadowburn, he's going to be free for that one. Oh, that was easy. It's a package. It's Zappis and Taimu, 2 for 1, and he'll take that gladly. The blade hits home and 2 kills come up. It's going to be Russia with a very comfortable wipe here. But yeah, again, you see there's quite a lot of ultimates, used in this situation. Maybe even 5. Dragon Blade was there, Graviton was there, Blizzard was there. Look at how these are used. So that's a lot being used by Russia. They seem to be happy with this. But again, Finland now actually have themselves, I think, a degree of ult advantage going into this fight.
Not a great deal of Cluedo required there. Shadowburn with the Dragon Blade in the library.
Yeah.
That's where it all
on the candlestick, it was that dark gold sword.
Well, they're going to push on around. Finland, of course, are going to react because Russia just used just about everything in that fight. Of course, they still have themselves a Nano Blade in there. Shadowburn's going to get taken down by Zappis, so there's a problem. And then they are forced to back away. Unfixed with just 50 health does manage to survive and gets the right click in the backside of Linksa, forces them back again. And Finland, they're having some serious problems here. The aggressiveness of Russia is working out.
Unfixed is walling very, very well at the moment. I don't know if you missed that fight, the first fight or one of the early fights on the point where Unfixed threw up a wall to prevent any follow-up damage to a Graviton Surge coming away from Finland. That wall there, while it was only really used to save his own bacon, was also very, very well laid down. 51%, by the way. It's not normally an accuracy. We don't really use accuracy that much for May, but still interesting. Oh, Hipsy, you're in trouble. You are in big, big trouble, my friend. The Icebox, you got to land home. Surely not even a big old breather was going to save you from that one.
It's not really the hook you want, is it? It's just straight away. And of course, Shadowburn followed it instantly up into the clouds. So
time is short, man. Time is short.
They've not even got past this archway right now, so they're not posting a very long time, and that's going to give Russia a real impetus to push on. They have to get themselves sorted out here. Anak, of course, sitting on that Graviton Surge is only going to give Finland more problems. Mafu's got one of his own, so it might be a double Graviton Surge. It will be. They're going to be both fired back and forth. The question is there a follow-up? Yes, there is. A Blizzard goes down. Himsy caught in surprise in midair. Shadowburn picks himself up. Yet another handful of kills.
Not in their worst nightmares would Finland have ever expected to be here, and yet they are. One advantage for them in that fight is that they actually have ultimates to take you to the next, but they really only have one or two more fights really left in them. Shadowburn's done a very good job, by the way, of sitting back around that corner, but here's the fight. Again, he manages to find his way in, doesn't need to use the Dragon Blade. Look at this. He has the understanding and the realization that his team has invested enough into this fight that simply using his shurikens will be enough to secure these kills and get enough damage done for a landslide victory in the fight.
Finland have finally got themselves around the corner, but Shadowburn are once again going on. This time he gets caught with the Earth Shatter, pinned in midair. The Graviton Surge is not going to be enough to pull them down. There's going to be the sound barrier to keep them all alive, and Shadowburn doesn't find himself a target at last, and finally, Finland come out on top in one of these big, crazy team fights, and they're going to get themselves the payload around the streets.
Elixir as well, they're doing some serious damage during that fight. He used his Earth Shatter, and that was 60% to his next one. That is a testament to just how much damage he's been able to do in that fight, and Himsy, wisely enough, knows when to back away there. Wanted to try and chase a little bit for Godspeed, see if he can get the Lucio kill, but he couldn't find him. Didn't want to risk it. I like that. It's a time saver of a plan, but look at this lead. They're going to be almost into overtime by the time they get to here. This could be quite nasty. No, payload hasn't quite reached the end yet. No, it hasn't. This could be nasty here. Russia could win this fight and end it here.
The Blizzard gets thrown out. It's enough to slow things down. The Graviton Surge thrown back and forward. Both of them go down. Godspeed manages to pick himself up one as well as Unfixed. It's Russia that are getting the kills, but time is yet to be dealt with. He gets himself around the side, but he's going to get frozen in time as he's still continuing to hop, skip, and jump. Unfixed trying to focus, has to get himself in the ice block, but it's Godspeed that picks up the kill. Suddenly it's just Saini, have to left the loop around. Can he get hold on long enough? They will not get there, and Finland are held by Russia here on Kings Road, just outside the second checkpoint. It is a tragic performance by Finland so far.
I'm immeasurably impressed with the fact that Russia chose to take a fight there. I understand they didn't actually have all 6 players ready to defend outside the Foundry. But from the first point to the Foundry, an attacking team's respawn route, that one is one of the longest ones in the game. Between taking the first point and the second, and the payloads right towards the Foundry, there is no way that you can actually stall. So if you lose a fight, if you lose anyone, you are absolutely done. Beautiful stuff there from Russia, and again, it was off the back of some key ultimate timings there. I think Reds also has had an excellent half so far. His charges, he was all over Lynx. Lynx said, I feel like I was outplayed pretty badly by Winghaven in the prior match, but he said he sort of worked around Winghaven and focused on the rest of Spain. This time it seems that Lynx hasn't been able to do that, and he's been completely and utterly just destroyed at this stage by Reds.
Well, of course the focus was all on Shadowburn early on, but you've just got to give the entire team of Russia some serious credit in this game. They have all been performing at the top level. And of course, with a final position place up for grabs, they are in a real hot seat right now. Finland have to defend this point. They have to put on a solid performance, because if it were to reach the streets, one simple lost team fight could be game over.
For two teams that are remotely closely matched, neither should ever be held outside the Foundry. That is not a good sign at all. Russia played the streets phase better than I have seen in quite some time, and that's normally the quickest part of the map. That's normally where teams breeze through. But the hold over towards that choke point can be very, very hard to extricate yourself from if the defending team is able to set up before the payload really leaves that red square on the right of the screen.
No May for Finland on the defense. Something we've seen almost used non-stop. And that's a real problem because obviously that big blizzard can slow things down quite a lot. They're reliant on Himsy to really land these hooks. Gets around the side and he's been walled off already, caught in the statue. Kid takes a couple of shards in the back there from Unfixed, and they're already starting to work him down. Himsy's taken very low.
Unfixed, a couple of high spikes are going in here as well. At least Finland have that shield for Linksa to stand behind and receive some healing. Zappa's already 46% towards his nano boost here. Both Anna's doing a lot of work. That blizzard though, that's going to be scary. Finland don't have one to respond with, and Unfixed is going to lob that in just a moment.
Just going to go straight in. There's the blizzard. He's going to catch. Linksa completely separated from his team. That's a real problem. Shadowburn gets himself one. Linksa gets Godspeed in the back end there. That's going to work out well, but Red's on point at the moment. Linksa swinging away with a hammer. Himsy manages to get the hook down on Anak. Taimu getting the damage down, but Shadowburn is still not dealt with. Finally gets taken down, and Finland hold, but by God, it was a rough hold.
If Russia decide to come back very, very quickly here, they'll be able to get a 6v5 situation on the point. I think it's actually Zappas who's lagging most behind here, and you can see that Himsy is the only one, and look how far back Finland go. I like this. They realize they're staggered. They realize they've got to regroup. They have to give some of this point over and go for a retake. Shadowburn, though, goes high. Dragon Blade's out.
Taimu's got himself his Death Blossom available. He's trying to find a position, a situation to use it, but the rest of his team have just been decimated. He's going to be able to hit it right now, but I don't think he's going to get anything with it because Shadowburn, with the Dragon Blade, picks himself up a quick triple, and that will be the payload captured. And now problems really start to mount up for Finland. There is a 4-minute 49 section. Finland have to answer exactly as Russia did, but I don't think they're in a position to be able to hold them at the archway.
That's an example, I think, of a fight that you lose actually being a good thing. That first push for Russia, they did lose, but they knew they spawned closer to the point. They'd be able to have a numbers advantage if they traded 1-for-1. Now, Finland are going to try and do to Russia what they did to them. Set up in this choke, throw a lot of damage in, and hope that some of it sticks.
Taimu's going to try and dash himself back in there. He's got his Death Blossom ready to go. Can he get around the side? No, he just gets battered straight back by Reds. Now manages to dash in, finally gets boosted up, and it's going to be enough to get himself the kill. He gets the main damage dealers down, and he buys Finland a desperate, desperate reprieve as they hold on for now.
Something interesting as well, maybe something to note, is that between these two teams, they've done about the same amount of damage over the course of this game. So about 55,000 damage each. The Russian team has taken 24k damage, and the Finnish team has taken 36, so shields have been important. Because the difference between damage dealt and damage taken by the opposite team is quite significant here. Russia's using their shields better, quite simply.
Quite simply, Anak has himself Graviton Surge waiting to go. Himsy gets the hook on Shadowburn. That's an absolutely important hook, and it's going to force Russia just to back away briefly, momentarily. They're not going to try and force this fight. Identical situation to what we saw Russia holding Finland in right now. But of course, the danger is the one moment Shadowburn gets let off the chain, let off the loose, gets around the backside to see Zappage. You can see him in the back corner there. The one moment that happens, there's real problems going to strike. Graviton Surge comes in, and it's going to be Finland that will find themselves the kills, but it's countered immediately by Blizzard.
That's a perfect combo as well, because Shadowburn just gets the run in between him. It's dash, 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 kill, kill, kill. And it is going to be the Nano Blade coming up trumps for Shadowburn. Finland started the fight off exceedingly well, but all that was required from Russia was to stay alive long enough, and that man with the Blizzard made all the difference. It made it very, very easy for Shadowburn. This is not mechanically intensive. No one can even move. You just flash them, get as much damage down as you can, and move the heck on.
And that's the danger of having a Mei versus a no Mei right now in the current meta. It is a real problematic and Unfixed. Hit it perfectly, followed up, paired up, and there's the big golden marker, there's the big golden mile. That's all they need to hit. That's a good Earth Shatter coming through though, but the wall quickly counters him off, and it separates Linksa from the rest of his team. He gets caught around there, quickly pinned on the wall and taken down. Reds gets himself another, straight down a second, and this is really problematic for Russia now as they get forced back by Mafu.
That's putting it very lightly, to be honest. Taimu tries to go in with a Death Blossom and get some kills, but it might not be enough. Blizzard comes down, Godspeed falls, Mafu's going to be frozen up though, and it's only Unfixed there to capitalize and follow up on damage. There was enough healing coming away from Zappas to keep Mafu alive. But do you remember, Lee, when I said that the shields have been used better for Russia? This is why. Anak has the most damage on the side of his team, 20k as opposed to Shadowburn's 15k. 57% average energy on Zarya. His shields have been on point. He's getting a lot of charge from them, and he's protecting his teammates from so much damage. There's a 10,000 difference between the shielding done of these two teams.
Just under 2 minutes to go, and if Finland lose a single fight, it is game over, tournament over. Taimu is going to drop straight down. The Graviton Surge is there, but there's not really a great deal of damage to follow on through. The Sleep Dart gets onto Taimu. He manages to survive because Linksa goes aggressive and rushes through, gets himself a triple kill on Unfixed, Rubicon, and Shadowburn, and Finland holds strong once again. There's now only a minute left, Mitch. This is now looking possible for Finland.
Ultimate-wise, they've got a little bit to work with here. The Nanobu is probably something they want to have on their side. What they're doing without Mei here is quite impressive. I really do think that Unfixed is the big difference in this game, the X factor, having the Blizzard available. But Taimu's in a good position here to get very high value from this one Death Blossom. That's what you need to do now if you're Finland and you don't have a lot of ults ready.
He has to get the nano boost on him. You can see it's not quite ready from Zapdos. It's not going to be in a while. The Graviton Surge is not great. He manages to get out with the Ray Form, gets himself a quick Death Blossom off, gets a double kill. Shadowburn and Godspeed, more importantly. Unfixed throws out the Blizzard, catches himself a double as well. And suddenly it's terrific. Russia going to push on through. Unfixed catches another. Anna gets a second kill around the side there. The nano grenade goes down. And that is surely all over. Finland are wiped out. They have one man to run in. It is going to be Saini to try and hold them at bay as they push on through for the final point.
One more fight now. Rubicon gets a little bit of damage off the starboard, but Saini's going to fall down. Where are the rest of the reinforcements? Link's on the Tracer, trying to get over towards his payload and actually stem the flow, but it may not be enough. Rubicon is connecting on these darts. He's got himself a sound barrier. Lynx falls. Now it's going to be the Nanobu's coming in, and it's Unfixed of all people to benefit from it here. Mafu, nothing he can do. He's going to be frozen solid now. Dragon Blade going to come over the top, and now we're into overtime. Blizzard comes down yet again. There's nothing that can be done here. Surely Finland are going to fall apart. Russia get over the line. It's 2-1, and Russia will be going to the final.
Solid stuff there from Russia. They take it in ease. Dorado and King's Row was all they needed. Not really the performance we were expecting from Finland, if I'm truly honest, but I think you've got to look at Russia, you've got to look at the likes of Shadowburn, and then you've just got to look beyond him because the entire team stepped up. Anak was enormous throughout that game. Godspeed, so many times he maneuvered his team into position and away from position. You saw Finland go aggressive on Dorado. He pulled them out of danger. It all worked well. Russia as a team stepped up when they needed to.
We're very careful not to undersell Russia through the entirety of this competition throughout the group stages. Anak, you're dead right. He brings so much to this team as a caller and as that cool head. I mean, Russia have taken that and they have just flown with it. Such impressive stuff here from the Russians. But now let's pass it over to the desk and take a fond look back at the match that was.
Thank you, Mitch. Thank you, Lee. Now, guys, I asked you at the start of the match.
I think we all said Russia 2-0, if I remember right, except for you said Finland 2-0. I'm sorry you were wrong, I guess. But,
I warned about this. I said it was a possibility, you know?
Of course, it's always a possibility.
We knew it's a possibility. Yeah, but a greater possibility than people anticipated.
So how did this happen in a way that you guys did not predict? How did Russia do this?
Well, I think maybe it's a little bit more, how did Finland do this?
I think you have to give a huge amount of respect to Shadowburn and his Genji play. But when you set up a composition in your Finland and you have Earth Shatter, you've got Sleep Darts, you have hooks from Roadhog, you have flashbangs from McCree, you can't miss all of them every fight, right? And it's a testament to Shadowburn and Anak, especially with the Zarya shields, that he was able to get a lot of those resets and continue the ults. But at a certain point, like the blame, you have basically a fantastic composition for shutting down that Genji, and you have to execute on it. And Finland pretty much just straight up failed to do that.
You gotta stop that guy.
Yeah, this is what I warned about. You know, it's very easy to tunnel vision on Shadowburn strictly, but Anak and Unfixed, they just turned up.
Unfixed was amazing.
They were completely amazing. Unfixed ultimates, we talked about this. They were just perfect as Mei. And even Anak on the Zarya, I mean, they talked about his stats in game and how much he did, like the shields and just the overall damage he put through. And you saw these Zarya ultimates and these Mei ultimates just come together and just win so many fights for Russia. It was pretty amazing to watch.
Yeah, and that's it. I think the Mei ults, what Russia did very well is a lot of people will look at Shadowburn's play in this game and say, this guy, he was the reason they were carrying. But I think you have to take a look at Unfixed because it was the communication around the Mei ultimates when it was going to be up, consistently putting him down on the payload. And when you have so many basically low-range heroes. You're running several tanks, or maybe several tanks and a Reaper, as we saw several times from Finland in this game. It's easy to hit everybody when they're on the payload with that Mei ultimate, and that's when a lot of the good Genji ults, or even just building Genji ult up and having him dash through multiple people came about, and then Shadowbird could transition that into a Dragon Blade later.
Yeah, for sure. I did like on Dorado, I did like the swap over to Winston that we're seeing here. That really kind of took Russia off guard a bit and helped Finland at least take the first point on that map anyway. But it was a lot of things. I mean, we saw Linkser miss a couple pretty crucial Earth Shatters there as well. So like you said earlier, it's just a lot of, you need to hit those CC abilities when they need to be hit. And if you don't, a player like Shadowbird's going to run all over you.
Yeah, I do want to say that we didn't really see Taimu show up either. I mean, he had a few good moments on Dorado, he had a few good moments here on King's Row as well, but it really wasn't able to push through, and Himster get a few hooks as well, but yeah, they couldn't get this together the same way they have done before.
And to contrast that with a different performance that we've seen here at the Overwatch World Cup, if we talk about other McCree players that have been able to successfully shut down Shadowburn, sure, America lost their match to Russia, but Gods really did a number on Shadowburn during that series, and you can see what a McCree can do, and unfortunately, Finland was not able to replicate that performance.
Yeah, pretty much agree with that. Right. It was a shame, I think, to see time with so much on Reaper, but the nature of King's Row kind of restricts you to play Reaper in those very short paths. So we can talk about how we would have liked to see time move or a McCree, but I think it didn't really have the possibility to bring it out as much as it would have liked.
I gotta say, it's been so fun to watch Russia this tournament, though. I mean, because we've talked about this with a lot of their matches, right? Okay, you've got to find a way to stop Shadowburn. You have all the CC, but the way they play around this guy, the way, like you said, the Zarya shields come in, the way they're able to use the blizzards, I have never seen a Genji able to do his thing so well as Russia does it for Shadowburn.
Yeah. That's what happens with Shadowburn on phase too. So
pretty amazing.
I do want to say it's very easy to play. Okay, not very easy, but it's fairly easy to play Genji when you're going up with a triple tank. We saw Shadowburn had so many ultimates this game. Like he just spammed all the time, and pretty much every fight he was able to bring out the sword and just completely wreck Finland.
Yeah, and it's about alternating the Mei and the Genji ultimates. If you get the Blizzard down, the Genji can clean up, put down all that damage, get the Dragon Blade up, then he wipes the team, and the Mei has the ult again, and it just kind of went back and forth like that for Russia.
Yeah, pretty much sums it up.
We can check in on Shadowburn's perspective. Jason is down on the floor with Shadowburn after that electric match. Let's hear what he has to say about Russia's performance.
I'm really hoping by proxy, Shadowburn, that I'm going to become a better Genji just by being near you. So we have to talk about, first of all, dear Lord, your Genji is insane. What makes you so good on him?
I just like this character. It's so fun to play. It's movement. It's fits for my game style. Roaming around, killing their supports, and it's kind of passive aggressive style. Yeah.
And you forgot slaughtering the entire enemy team in that one too. But yeah, you said to me you don't really do anything special on Genji.
Yeah.
But what does your team do to help facilitate you to excel at him so well?
I mean, it's basically it's just combo our ultis, for example, Nano Boost, that's it. Nothing special actually. We just trying to pressure the main combo, and then I engage as Genji and dive on the backline, supports and.
Okay, so what was it like? Because you played against Gods, your Genji versus McCree. Now you played against Taimu. How did things kind of go between you two? Did you feel pressured a lot? Was it relatively easy? Did you struggle? What was going on?
I felt like it was kind of easy, but I think they didn't play around Taimu for some reason. He was he had no space every time. He was standing still, and they I don't know, they are not helping him a lot.
So tell me about your team a little bit, because you played with them quite a bit in the early stages of Overwatch. How does it feel to play with this set team?
I feel really nice. They could be professional players in future if they're gonna play together, and yeah.
Okay, so now you guys are in the finals. Congratulations on that, first of all. You've got Korea up against Sweden. Who do you want to play? You've never played against Korea before, so I personally want to see you do that, but who are you looking to play?
I was watching games previously against USA against Korea, and I think we should play against Korea. I feel really good against them.
Is there a certain player you want to call out? Like Arhan, you want to 1v1 him, or Eska? Or Rouge Hong, maybe?
I don't want to tell you.
Okay, that's all good. And by the way, congratulations. You've been voted the T-Mobile MVP of that match, so congratulations to you. And also good luck on your match tomorrow, because now you guys have the day off. You get to relax, and you get to figure out what you want to do in that final match. But guys, let's head back to the desk and see what they have to say.
Jason, thank you so much for that interview with Shadowburn. Congratulations, Shadowburn and all of Russia. You did a fantastic job, and we'll be seeing more from you tomorrow. But before we get there, we have one more match left for today. Guys, are you excited for South Korea and Sweden?
Oh, yes.
Yes, yes, I think I am, yes.
This is one of those times where we may have had not the most exciting quarterfinals, but because of that, how one-sided those quarterfinals are, we now have a very exciting semifinal.
Well, Sweden-Korea is going to be amazing, man. I mean, and with USA actually giving Korea a little bit of a run for their money on Eichenwald as well, I think this one could end up being really close.
All right, we'll find out after this break when we come back with the final match of the day. It's going to be South Korea versus Sweden.